Hey everyone, today driving up to Mosquito Lagoon, gonna fish with my buddy Richard, going for big trout, maybe some reds, maybe some snook. Stay tuned, we'll see how it goes.
So the day started out with Richard hooking up to an absolute monster trout.
So how do you like my trout spot? That's a toad, dude.
This was his first cast with the top water in the morning, so
That is.
it's either going to be a great day or a horrible day.
He's not as big as I thought. Nah, he's like 25.
It ended up being 28.
Let me tell you, he's big enough. He would have been big enough for the tournament. We'd be hooting and hollering. You want a picture? Because it was caught with trebles, wasn't it? It was caught with trebles, wasn't it?
So I ended up getting this little dink. Sorry in advance for the camera angle.
Fall guy.
Yeah, I didn't know my camera was pointing a little upward the entire morning.
Nah. 15?
I'm just gonna let this clip play out. If you turn up the volume, you could hear how this fish had me pretty stretched out in the beginning.
Still got him? Barely hooked.
Richard, as you
I don't think as big as yours, but it's a nice one.
can see, Richard was already moving on from this area. I decided to double back around because I knew there had to be a big trout somewhere in this area. And if you notice, my rod's barely bent. That's because if I put any pressure on this fish, I would have lost him 100%.
25-ish, I'd say. Maybe 26. Dude, I can see my top water clear as day.
Again, sorry for this bad angle. You know, I thought
so deep.
that the camera was pointing down the entire time.
Barely. He deep throated the top water, and I saw him. He threw it, and it caught himself again. Yeah.
So if you heard,
We came through too fast. I was like, with where you got yours, I was like, there's got to be more. It's the right time. They should be biting.
so if you heard, when he hooked up, he was thrashing on the surface, and I literally saw the topwater come out of his mouth.
It's going to be like a 26. Yeah.
It came out of his mouth and caught it mid-head shake again.
I'd say 26. He just ain't quitting. Like, look at this. I've never fought a trout this long. But look at my top water. There we go. That is a quality fish. Yeah. 28 in the corner. I knew he was bigger than mine. 28 with the tail not finished. That is a nice one. There's our red. Huh?
So I had to mute this part because I was talking about the area, like specifically where it is. But yeah, shortly after that, Trout got this red. Going back to that trout, pays off to have sharp hooks, because if I had dull hooks, I would have lost that fish when it threw the top water from down in its throat to the side of his mouth. Nice little red. And that was it for the entire morning. So we ended up making a huge move, like putting in 3-4 miles to get to the outer islands, and stumbled on a school of reds. Richard got one right away, and this was my second one of the day. So right now, I believe I'm at 3 red, or
yeah, because you saw when I sent the hook, he was already gone.
I'm at 2 reds. Richard's at 3 reds.
Yeah.
About a 24-incher.
Yeah, dude, there was some. Yeah. I know, I saw him eat it.
So this was a little crazy.
Dude, there's like a 35 with them. Yeah. And there's lots of too.
I hooked up to one, and the whole school was following me, and there was like a 35-incher with this school. So, took the other rod, tried to get the 35, but ended up just getting another slot.
You know, you try and pull this off with,
Pays off to have 2 rods rigged up with a paddle tail.
it's funny, you try and pull that off with 35s, 20 inchers, ain't that bad. You see all the bait there? Yeah. One. Yeah, go. It goes in the net. Yeah. Yeah.
Fun little double up. So that puts me and Richard tied. And now we're just hopping islands at this point, and we quickly put together a pattern that pretty much all these outer islands had a school of reds on them. Now this part I had to mute because there was a lot of cursing. I was casting, there were 2 fish that were probably 34 to 36 inches that were just kind of floating around this island. And there was a school of slots running around too. So I casted at the pair and ended up hooking this little slot. So I was kind of pissed off. But yeah, at this point, Richard and I are definitely in a little competitive mood. Because we're going fish for fish at this point. And now it's like, okay, who's going to end up with more reds? But probably about a 23-incher, I'd say, 22, 23.
Good, bud.
And Richard's hooked up to, was hooked up to a nice trout when I got that red. You could tell these fish are still green because we're just ripping them in trying to one-up each other. Now this was a complete flop on my part. It's like a 21, 22 inch trout, but hooked him right next to the kayak. He didn't fight, ripped him out of the water. And I just had butterfingers on this fish, could not hold him worth a damn. So didn't want to touch him too much at this point. Decided to use a de-hooker. And there he goes. So Richard and I are both at 8 fish at this point. Or 8 reds. And this would be number 9.
So final tally today, I got 9 reds and a trout that was 28 inches. Richard got 9 reds and a trout that was also around 28 inches. He also lost one that was in and around the same size. Caught a bunch of trout. You know, he got 2 other ones that were over 20. I think one was like 21, 22. The other one was like 23. And we got a few that, about a dozen that were pushing 20, you know, in that 18 to 20 inch range, and then a bunch of small ones. Didn't record much of that because I'm not trying to be one of those guys that just post a bunch of small trout and say, oh, it's a great day. Nah, I want the bigger fish. He also got 2 snook. I mean, there were dinks, 17 and 15 inches. But overall, it was a action-packed day. Towards the end, we were basically island hopping, just, you know, zigzagging through islands, and pretty much found a red on every island on the way back. So that was fun. But yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow. Hopefully getting more snook and tarpon. We'll see.